that Iran's going to have potentially a lot more money to spend in these kinds of state sponsor of terrorism ways.
Absolutely, they'll have greater resources. Now, it may not be in excess of $100 billion. The real number may be closer to $56 billion when you consider funds that are already obligated. But nonetheless, a big infusion of money. Certainly, some of that they're going to have to plow into their economy. That's what Rouhani's been making the case for in Iran. But Iran has proved very cost-effective in their support of Hezbollah. They've been able to stretch a few dollars a long way. Now they'll have a lot more dollars. And this was certainly a topic of our discussion with the President and our discussion with Secretary Kerry today. And that is how, if this agreement were to go through, how do we counter an Iran that is that much more enriched? And how can we work with our allies in the region, with Israel, with the Gulf states, to more effectively push back? And one of the things that I think really comes through this discussion is when you look at the Gulf nations, they're spending a fortune on defense, many times more than Iran. If Iran is spending $16 billion, they're spending $130 billion. And yet Iran has been so much more cost-effective in the utilization of its defense and terrorism funding.
He did confirm, the FBI director, that the U.S. concluded Iran was directly responsible for the fortunately failed assassination attempt of the then Saudi ambassador to the United States at a restaurant here in Washington. Adel al-Jubeir, who is now the foreign minister of Saudi Arabia, he says the FBI concluded that Iran was responsible for that.
Well, and that's such a shocking thing, too, which just goes to show you that, Iran, in addition to its various terrorist activities around the world, is willing and capable of an attack here on the homeland in the most brazen of fashions. That whole chapter was just so shocking. Usually, frankly, Iran is much more rational, if that's even the right word, in its use of force around the world. It's a state sponsor of terror. It's responsible for horrible acts of murder, but they don't usually act in such a extraordinarily risky way and risk the blowback that would have accompanied that. So it was a really startling case.